9 years. 9 years, 9 conferences. Every year since we launched the war in Afghanistan 9 years ago, we and a bunch of other countries have held a conference to talk about what to do there. 9 years, 9 conferences. And it is this year, for the first time ever, that yearly conference about what to do in Afghanistan is actually taking place in Afghanistan. First time. And that is your What's Wrong with This Picture Afghanistan microcosm of the day. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton flew to Kabul today for the conference. Reporters asked her about concerns that Western spending in Afghanistan is being diverted to the elites and to the corrupt and to bad guys in that country. She responded with this, quote, "We also have to take a hard look at ourselves because it is very clear our presence, all of our contracting has fed that problem. This is not just an Afghan problem, it's an international issue." What's remarkable about that from Secretary Clinton is that it seems to recognize a key and subtle point about this war. Extending the duration of our presence there may very well reduce our chances of achieving our goal there. If the end goal is to have a real Afghan state functioning there, serving its people, us funneling billions of war dollars every month into that country breeds corruption and dependence and resentment. It undermines an Afghan state. It does not promote it. Newsweek's cover story right now is titled, "We're Not Winning. It's Not Worth It." The story is a lengthy argument for why and how to extricate ourselves from this war. Is that cover story an effort to move American public opinion and the administration's opinion on the war? Or is that cover story a reflection of where that opinion already is? Joining us now is NBC's Richard Engel. He's not just NBC's chief foreign correspondent. He's also served as my tour guide and uncompensated carpet salesman on my recent trip there. Hi, Richard.
Do you have the money for that? That's why I came.
Everybody thinks that was you giving me $20 to buy the rug. Can we clear this up once and for all?
Yes, it was my money.
No,
it was your money. I was holding it for you.
You never carried any money. You didn't have any money.
We'll go with that story. That's fine.
Damn you, Richard Engel.
Yes.
All right. Am I right in detecting a sort of new center of gravity in arguments about our presence in Afghanistan? Do you feel like things are shifting?
Things are definitely shifting. The idea is now not we've got to win this war, how many troops is it going to take? It is how do we get out of this war? And the shift is focusing on, well, what can be the new strategy? Is there going to be a negotiated settlement? And that's pretty much what Haas is arguing for in that article, that there should be some sort of political accommodation, and that after 9 years of war, trying to rebuild and occupy a landlocked Central Asian country to protect the homeland isn't working and isn't going to work.
Are there splits among powerful people, among people who tend to influence big policy decisions like this on that central issue? Or is that really the common wisdom now? Are there people who are dissenting from that and say, no, we need to stay forever?
I don't think so. I think everyone is trying to figure out how to do it. And most people, the one issue that no one's talking about is the key to this entire equation is Pakistan.
Right.
I've been told time and time again, Pakistan could turn off this problem quickly. In a day, as the expression goes. It's probably not in a day, but very, very quickly. And Pakistan knows it and has said that to Afghanistan several times. We can fix this problem, but they want certain assurances from the United States. They want certain deals from the United States. So if you can come up with some sort of accommodation with Pakistan, you don't need to be in Afghanistan
anymore.
And
what does Pakistan want, or what is salient about what Pakistan wants that might be hard for the American people and the American government to swallow?
Pakistan wants to have influence in Afghanistan. Pakistan wants to have influence in Afghanistan to protect itself from India. So it might be difficult for people in the U.S. to accept a stepping back of relationships between India and the United States, which are very close. People in the United States feel very connected to India. It's a good trading partner. It's a world partner. Do we have to then sacrifice some of our relationship with India in order to placate Pakistan, in order to save ourselves in Afghanistan? Maybe. There may be some of that trade-off that's coming along. But it needs to be a political bargain. Pakistan needs to be involved. The idea of just trying to build the Afghan government and send in more troops to try and fight our way or pay our way out of Afghanistan, most people don't think it's possible anymore.
It has to be a Pakistan solution.
It has to be a Pakistan and Afghan solution, something with the Afghan government and Taliban reconciliation to a degree.
Well, when you talk to Afghans and when you talk to Pakistanis and when you talk to people who are sort of connected to the power brokers in those countries, what are they expecting us to do? Do they feel like they see where we're going before we do?
The Afghans are very nervous, and we talked about this a lot. Yeah. The Afghans are nervous that there will be a deal and that the country is going to be sold off to Pakistan. And there are many people in particularly ethnic minorities who are worried about this. They don't want the Taliban coming back. They don't want more Pakistani influence. And they're thinking maybe we should go back into the mountains of northern Afghanistan and fight again. So
well, does Pakistani influence equal Taliban?
It has in the past.
Yeah.
So Pakistani influence would probably mean more hardline Islamic influence, particularly in the border areas there, because Pakistan has found these groups useful allies, useful militias to fight other wars and other things. And I think going forward, this is an analogy I've always used, and I think it's starting to maybe even catch on. The war on terrorism, and particularly the war on terrorism in Afghanistan, think of it a little bit as like the war on drugs. You remember the war on drugs? Well, the war on drugs is similar to the war on terrorism in that you're both fighting a concept. Mm-hmm. You're fighting something that is bad, is evil, and has a damage on your society at home. But we didn't occupy Colombia or other drug-producing countries, and we didn't try and rebuild their governments. You tried to help the local governments. You tried to eradicate drug dealers, killing them when necessary. And I think there is a growing consensus that that is a different kind of, that's more the kind of approach you need for terrorism. You don't need to occupy, rebuild, clear, hold, and build your way through every failed state in the world in order to prevent that problem washing back on your shores.
Does that also imply that you tolerate some low level of terrorism in the way that winning the war on drugs still means tolerating
There's still drugs. There's still drugs in America. There will still be terrorism in America. There will still be terrorism in the world. You're not going to get rid of it. And if you can accept that, okay, there's a little bomb here and there, and that's not the end of the world. You don't need to go and occupy every unstable country in the world. But if you can protect against it, you can minimize it, you can make it happen as little as possible.
Harden yourself as a target.
Harden yourself. The same way you protect places that would be vulnerable to drugs, schools or ports. You can look at the problem and think strategically about it. Yeah. Well, you can look at terrorism the same way. But yes, there will be some terrorism, there will be some drugs, kind of no matter what you do.
You still don't get that $20.
No.
But, that's a really good
I thought that was worth $20.
That was sort of worth $20, but I think NBC pays you.
I've thought about this for years. It's not even $20 worth.
Well, listen, you know what? I'll just loan you the rug whenever you want to borrow it.
Well, it's so nice to see you.
Thanks a lot. Richard Engel, NBC's chief foreign correspondent, of course. Something just happened in the BP oil disaster that can really only be explained using a scene from season 5 of The Sopranos. Okay, so Tony and Carmela were going to get divorced, okay? They both need to get divorce lawyers. But because Tony is a criminal mastermind, he effectively poisons the well for Carmela so that all the good divorce lawyers are off limits to her. Do you remember this plot twist?
Hello?
Miss Soprano, Dean Eamon returning.
Oh, hi. Great. Thank you. The reason I called, I gave your secretary the broad strokes.
You were in the middle of a separation. The original attorney retired.
Right. Bob Greenberg. At any rate, I'm thinking it's time I move forward with the divorce proceedings.
Miss Soprano, I'm afraid I'm going to have to cut you short. As far as handling it, I'm afraid I have to recuse myself.
What do you mean? Why?
Actually, your husband had been in to see me for a consultation last year.
My husband hired you?
No. But based on a prior meeting, the Code of Professional Responsibility precludes me from representing you because of that consultation.
But he met with Greenberg, too, and he was willing to represent me.
Well, Mr. Greenberg would have found himself in a bit of ethical soup had he actually moved forward.
See, I don't understand this. Why is my husband so picky? He talked to 7 or 8 of the top divorce attorneys in New Jersey.
Well, you can probably figure that maneuver out for yourself.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I understand your frustration. If you like, I can recommend a colleague. Someone your husband hasn't contaminated.
Well, yeah, okay.
Someone your husband hasn't contaminated. perfect verb for using that plot twist in The Sopranos to understand what BP has been trying to do to science on the Gulf Coast. All right, the Mobile Press-Register reports that for the last few weeks, BP has been trying to hire tons of prominent scientists in the Gulf Coast region to help the company defend itself against the inevitable litigation to come. According to the Press-Register, BP even tried to hire the entire Marine Sciences Department at one Alabama university. That school turned BP down, but it is reported that scientists from several other universities in the region have accepted BP's offer.